God bless you, global Christian friend. God bless the American government. God bless you, pastors and saints around the world. John chapter 1, verse 5. Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. Take a look at those scriptures and compare those scriptures and see just what God did. And there's so much knowledge here, just incredible. It's incredible, but that's the way God is. He gives you incredible knowledge. Now, I'm not talking about the time that, if you want to look at the creation from the scientific point of view, look at 10 to the 83rd power. Going in the other direction, look at 10 to the minus 43rd power in the other direction. And you'll come away with great numbers in that respect. But we're looking at what God is showing. Because when you're of God, He's going to show you. There's no other way around it. He is obligated to show you because you are of Him and you hear Him. And the Bible said, they who are of God heareth God's word. Why? Because God give unto them the Spirit without measure. That's the way He is. Now, the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Well, when you look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 2, darkness was upon the face of the deep. Darkness was upon the face of the deep. So the light that shineth in darkness shone upon the face of the deep. In other words, what did God do? God took light, and the Bible bears this out, and enrolled light with darkness. Now, that's the way the darkness upon the face of the deep. This is how God do things. He take the, pardon expression, He take the appearing to be the most profound thing, or the most thing that is honored, and He simply make fools out of them. He take the foolish thing of the world to confound the wise, the weak thing to confound those that are strong. And here's darkness upon the face of the deep, just lying there. All this dark energy, all this dark matter, lying there, my God, just lying there like some monstrosity at the beginning of the gateway of creation. Just lying there, waiting there upon the face of the deep. That dark energy, that dark matter, the dark element. And here comes God. Here comes the Lord. He commands that light right into the midst of that darkness upon the face of the deep. And what a shocker that was to darkness. What a shocker that was to darkness. The Bible tells you in the book of Job that He enrobed the creation in darkness and put light there as a garment. This is why Jesus Himself was enrobed in swaddling bands and a swaddling garment, because that darkness was the swaddling band of the creation where exists dark energy and dark matter. And God called the light to shine in darkness. In other words, darkness had no power over light. Everybody out there say that. Darkness have no power over light. Every pastor out there around the world, every preacher, every teacher, every rabbi, whoever you are out there, every father, everybody ought to say that darkness have no power over light. The Bible says we ought to rather reprove darkness the way that the Holy Ghost reproved the world of those three things. You need to prove, as a matter of fact, what did Jesus say? He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. Now, verse 6, there was a man sent from God. Think about that statement. We just gave you the prophecy from Gabriel about John the Baptist in Luke chapter 1. We just gave you that prophecy. Now John is here saying there was a man that was sent from God. And guess what? That man came from God with a purpose. All right? And he tells you what purpose that he came from God with. But I know you are beginning to love this kind of knowledge because this is knowledge of the truth from God. And we see there was a man sent from God whose name was John. And John means Yahweh has been gracious. You notice how the Lord just give you words and give you the meaning and the definition of these things is because God loves you. God don't want you to have you ignorant, as the Apostle Paul said. I would not have you ignorant of spiritual things, brethren. God don't want you ignorant of his knowledge, but he wants you to know his knowledge. There was a man sent from God. And you know the story about Jesus when they asked him, by what authority do you do these things? He said, okay, you ask me a question, I'll answer your question. Which, according to psychology today, you're not supposed to do that. But what does Jesus care about psychology or psychiatry or anything for that matter? He said, I'll ask you a question. The baptism of John, was it from heaven or was it of men? They said, we cannot tell. Jesus, that's my answer. You don't know. You can't tell. I won't tell you either. That's my answer. But here's a man sent from God whose name was John. We just gave you the prophecy of Gabriel about John. And one thing I want you to understand quite quickly. Gabriel was in the days of Daniel. He came right back in the days of John and Jesus. Over 500 years. Think about that. It tells you a lot about Gabriel. It tells you a lot about God. It tells you a lot about the knowledge of God. Something similar to that, God spoke to Abraham back in those days. 400 years later, he spoke to Moses. I'm the same one that spoke to Abraham. I'm the same Gabriel that spoke to Daniel, that spoke to Mary and Elizabeth. When y'all see these things, understand these things as God give you knowledge. We will continue later on. God bless you, global Christian friends and pastors. We love you.